Welcome, Caleb's Basketball Pod. We have a lot to talk about. A lot of NBA playoff action happened over the weekend. We had two Game 7s and one Game 1. And we also get to talk about previewing our Western Conference semifinal matchups. We always previewed our Eastern Conference semifinals. And let's jump right into it. First off, on Saturday, we had the Denver Nuggets LA Clippers Game 7. Me personally, I believe this game was going to be a lot closer than it was. I thought it was going to be a battle to the end. We ended up seeing a Denver Nuggets runaway. And now we're set up to see Nuggets OKC tonight. I just want to take a couple takeaways from that Denver Nuggets LA Clippers Game 7. First off, James Harden's playoff struggles continue. We've seen him again just seems like he's just not there. I don't know if it's like a mental issue or what, because we know how good of a player he is. But it seems like when his team needs him in the clutch in these big playoff moments, it seems like there's a lack of James Harden. It seems like you don't get the James Harden you want. You get this unsure, not really sure what he's doing, missing shots like crazy, and just not fully prepared James Harden. I'm not sure what that is. Unfortunately, I think we're to the point where that's going to follow him throughout his whole career. I think we're all going to say James Harden was great in the regular season, but if you look at his numbers in the playoffs, he just didn't show up when it mattered the most. And I believe that at the end of the day is what separates him from being a true top 5 shooting guard of all time, in my opinion. I just think that he's not the Kobe Bryant, the Michael Jordan, the Dwayne Wade, but that type of shooting guard when it comes to it and when you need him in the clutch. It seems like he disappears in the biggest moments. Denver side of things, Nikola Jokic has been playing pretty good basketball, but he hasn't had to be the full show. We've said before, and we've talked about the Denver Nuggets. We've talked about the on and off rating of the Denver Nuggets when Jokic was off the floor. It's starting to change. I'm not saying without Jokic, the Nuggets could make an impact in the Western Conference. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying you don't need to make an impact in the Western Conference. You just need to have serviceable minutes when Nikola Jokic is resting for a little bit. Give him time to rest. Have other guys step up so he can rest. We're seeing Christian Braun with some big games. We're seeing Jamal Murray playing like that two-man game. Jamal Murray with him and Jokic, that's nearly unstoppable. They won a championship on that two-man game, if we remember. So I believe this Nuggets Thunder series is going to be very interesting. Let's preview that. The Oklahoma City Thunder, I think they're going to have to throw a lot of different bodies at Jamal Murray. I think they're going to try Lou Dortz to start the game. I think as these games go on and throughout different points in the game to throw Jamal Murray off on coverages and defenses, you're going to throw different guys at them. You're going to try probably Jalen Williams. You're probably going to try Alex Caruso. I mean, you have the bodies in Oklahoma to throw at Jamal Murray. That's great. For Nikola Jokic, I think you're going to want to bring Chet off of someone else to help. I think they'll probably start with Isaiah Hartenstein on him. And I don't think that's a bad matchup. I think strength-wise, Hartenstein can somewhat hold his own. He's not going to contain Jokic. That's nearly impossible. But I think with the ability to bring someone quick and young and long like Chet Holmgren off the ball, I think that's going to help a lot because we know Aaron Gordon is really good at sneaking into those spaces, staying in that dunker spot, getting those alley-oops, catching and hitting some big corner threes we've seen. And Aaron Gordon's been playing really good basketball, so I think it's a gift that Oklahoma has to be able to use Chet Holmgren in that because he's young enough, long enough, and quick enough to get back to his man if he helps on Jokic and Jokic makes the right pass. He's not always going to get back to his man, but he's going to be able to slide and move quick enough to get there sometimes, and that's a good thing because limiting some of those easy points helps a long way in defeating the Denver Nuggets. On the other side, if you're the Nuggets, you have to do what you do better than anyone. That two-man game between Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic, I believe it's the best two-man game that right now, possibly you could say in the NBA. And I mean, when it's clicking, we saw them win a championship with that. So if you're Denver, you have to use that two-man game. It's a really young and inexperienced team in Oklahoma. You've been there. You've won that championship. Use your experience. Use that two-man game. They need to find some way to integrate Michael Porter Jr. We have not seen much from him in the playoffs so far. You have to get him involved, integrate him into the offense, get him going a bit. Once you do, I think you have a shot to beat the Thunder. My prediction for this series is Oklahoma in 6. Moving on to our next game 7, we saw Houston and Golden State. This game was, well, first off, I want to say congratulations to the Rockets on pushing it to a game 7. They were down 3-1. They fought like crazy. I was a little underwhelmed with the effort we saw in Game 7 from Houston. I don't know if it was really the effort or Golden State finally stepping up and saying, we're not playing anymore. We're sending them home. These young guys, they fought tooth and nail to get back into the series, but our veteran leadership's going to step up and send them packing. That's what we saw. Steph had a big game. Jimmy Butler did what Jimmy Butler usually does. The little things. Buddy Hield had 8 3-pointers. And we just saw Golden State control the pace and control the full game. And you didn't want to see that view of Rockets. If you saw the game being played at Golden State's pace, you knew how that story was going to end. You wanted to do much like you had done in the 2 previous games in Game 5 and Game 6, where you guys controlled the pace. You kind of broke away from Golden State. You never really let them back into those games. That's what you were looking for if you were Houston. It was unfortunate for them that we saw a really focused vet team like the Golden State Warriors send the number 2 team in the Western Conference home. And now out west in the second round, we don't have our second or fourth seed, so that's very interesting. And interesting to see where we go from here for both teams. But Golden State is playing the Minnesota Timberwolves. I think this series is going to be really fun to watch. I think we are going to see 7 games. And it's so tough to predict because you have Stephen Curry, who has been playing amazing ball. You have Jimmy Butler that's been playing really well. Hey, you even have Julius Randle, who has been showing up and showing out in these games. So this series is a little tough to predict. But I'm going Minnesota Timberwolves in 7. I just think with the way Anthony Edwards is playing, you're seeing in his game. You're seeing how, like, these double teams are coming. He's making the right move. You saw it in Game 5 against the Lakers. He was not the scorer. He was the facilitator. That's a different role for Anthony Edwards. Everybody's forgetting he was now the facilitator when he was the guy about a month or 2 ago saying, I'm in my early 20s. I don't want to go out and pass 20 times a game. I want to score. And now you're just seeing that maturity level change. Like, he wants to win. You can see this. You can see the buy-in, the commitment. You can see everyone around him in Minnesota playing with that bought-in commitment. And I just like what I'm seeing. Game 7 is going to be in Minnesota. And Anthony Edwards, I believe, is going to be the best player in the series. I'm going with the Minnesota Timberwolves in this one in 7. Now, next up, we have our Game 1 that we saw yesterday between the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Indiana Pacers. I thought the Indiana Pacers did an excellent job of executing this game. They were plus 30 on 3-pointers. Off night for Cleveland for sure, but really on night for the Pacers. Also saw Tyrese Halliburton. Didn't really look like he was ever rushed or he was ever really pressured or in trouble at any point. He kind of kept his cool, kept his composure throughout the game. And I just think the Pacers really controlled the pace, dictated the game. And Cleveland never really got out of the blocks. We saw them come back, take a 1-point lead or something at one point. And we saw the Pacers come back with another one, take another lead. Cleveland would have to fight back from being down. I think both teams would learn from this game. I think from the Pacers, you have to learn that you can't keep giving them chance after chance after chance, because with how you outplayed them pretty much in every aspect except for turnovers and in the paint, you really should have won by a lot more than 9 points. You were plus 30 on 3-pointers and you only won by 9. I think if you're the Pacers, you have to be like, limit the turnovers. like try, and it's hard because of the two bigs in Cleveland, but you have to limit the paint domination from Cleveland too. Then you look at on the flip side, Cleveland, I thought that their closeouts were weak. They look shell shocked by the fast pace, which I don't completely get, because I would think that going into the series with the Pacers, you would get what style of play the Pacers are going to play, but that wasn't really the case. Saw them look a little stunned and a little shell shocked, maybe Senior and Porson maybe jarred them a little bit. They just looked a little slow out the gates and they never really caught back up. Next game 2 is a must win for Cleveland. You don't want to go to Indiana down 2-0. You'd be in big trouble. So next game's a must win, and you're hearing that there's injuries to DeAndre Hunter, Evan Mobley, and Darius Garland. We haven't seen Garland play for 3 straight games, and now you could be without 2 more of your key players. So if Cleveland don't figure something out, they could be in trouble here. Indiana, you have to not allow Cleveland get going, because if they start hitting these threes, you only beat them by 9 points by outscoring them from 30 from the 3-point line. If they hit a few more of those threes, the result could have been different, and you played an amazing game. So that's something else to look out for. And like I said, it's going to have to be some other people stepping up for Cleveland. Ty Jerome had an off game. Donovan Mitchell was 1 of 10 from 3-point line. It was not a good game for Cleveland, so I think they're going to look to bounce back. And if you're Indiana, you're in a good position. Win or lose, you're in a great position, because you still took a game in Cleveland. You get home court advantage now. So I think for both teams, this upcoming game's huge, and it'll be interesting to see what adjustments each team makes and how they come out. You know, they're going to change how they come out. They're going to change the style of how they're playing, and you have to. And you have to really limit the fast break opportunities for the Pacers, because they went amok on you in game 1. So, again, it'll be interesting to see how they come out, and both defenses have to adjust. And Cleveland also has to start hitting. They looked, like I said, just a little stunned with the uptake in competitiveness. We saw the Heat, and they kind of ran over the Heat. This was a big challenge, and it looked like they were a little shell-shocked by the competitiveness that they saw from the Pacers. And I think it's good for them that they get this now, because I think no matter the outcome of the series, you're thinking you can beat the Pacers. You're the favorites, beat the Pacers. If you do, you want to know... You want to be prepared for this level of competitiveness before you take on the Celtics. So it'll be an interesting series. It will be interesting for the Pacers, because they've been to the Eastern Conference Finals. They could go again. They already have a 1-0 lead. So I think both teams are looking at this series as this prepares them for the next round. And a lot of people is predicting the next round would be the Celtics. It could even be the Knicks. But I think what you're looking at, if you're Cleveland or Indiana, is either way, it's prepping you for the Eastern Conference Finals. This is a big round for both teams. Whoever gets by, I think, will be well prepared for that conference finals, no matter who it's against. So big series there, and I'm looking forward to seeing Game 2 adjustments Tuesday night. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you on Wednesday.